I'm Sam.
I am Anthony.
I'm Claire. My team has been working on a lot of different things that use the Cognex camera. So at first we were working on making a whack-a-mole game. So the robot detected the light from the moles and hit it. After we somewhat finished working on the whack-a-mole, although it's still not perfect, it could definitely go faster. We started working on Sling Puck too.
So in this internship, we've been working on a lot of different projects and side projects. In the group that I was in, we were focused on working on creating a pneumatic circuit, and we also made different types of labs for people who are learning pneumatics, and the culminating lab project was a walking or a wall climbing robot that could also walk on the floor, and that was all using pneumatics. And also we worked on a Sling Puck game, and our group also decided to use the concepts that we learned from pneumatics to use a pneumatic gripper.
So my group, the Marksmen, we initially started off working with PLCs and focusing on applying them with the robots. We made a crane game using joysticks and a button that was able to control the robot and drop the robot to grab the stuff we wanted to. On top of that, we implemented an HMI, human machine interface tablet thing that can both control the robot and display certain things that we wanted to on it. After that, we started working on the Sling Puck competition, where we just stole the hammer from the vision software team and used it as a gripper to sling the pucks, and we ended up winning the thing, so yeah.
So what we learned during the competition was, that there's a lot of unpredictable stuff that can happen, and it's very important to have good communication as a team, since you want to be able to work on efficient solutions as quickly as possible, since this is a very time-limited project. But it's definitely possible, and being able to combine all your ideas and then working on it systematically is it's a really good practice for with other challenges that might arise. But I think that was something that I definitely learned from that experience.
I specifically learned a lot about using the vision software and using the camera to program the robot to grab the certain pucks we want. On top of that, I learned a lot about optimizing algorithms and trying to shoot the puck in the best way possible and grab the pucks in the best order possible. And I learned to work really well with my specific teammates. We had a lot of arguments. It ended up us implementing the thing we wanted to implement without the others' permission, and ended up working very well together somehow.
Okay, so I am a manufacturing and design engineer student, so a lot of what I do in my classes, aside from just general learning engineering stuff, is a lot of designing products and devices that'll solve problems for a client. So one thing that we do a lot is we use CAD to design these products and come up with this feature on this product can solve this problem and this feature can solve this. So compared to this internship, I think especially when we were doing the Sling Puck, we got to design our own gripper to grab the pucks. And so my team used CAD to make a gripper, and we specifically chose certain curves and angles and cutouts in our gripper so that it could efficiently pick up the puck or just bring it back and sling it away. And doing that, I think, was the most related to what I do in school. So I really like doing that kind of thing where I can kind of design solutions based on a specific problem. But there's also a lot in this internship that's very different from what I do in school. I'm not a computer science major or any kind of computer stuff really. I've only taken a few computer science classes. And a lot of what we do with programming the robot is more CS focused. So it's a flow of logic that it's something I can do and I'm capable of doing and understand, but it's very different from what I do in school usually.
So in this internship, I think Starting out with things that are similar, you know, definitely the stuff that we learned from school in the classes, especially concerning like things with programming or working with computer-aided design. Definitely was used a lot here, and also the minor skills, you know, like soldering or you know, like working with circuits. That knowledge had to be used here in places that I didn't know we had to use it. So it was good to have that background knowledge for that, like to be successful in this the projects that we were working on. And then as for differences, you know, this was a lot more technical work, and we also had to reach out to, I know especially with the pneumatics portion, we had to reach out to the manufacturers a lot, and you know, communicate with people we didn't know. And there was also a bit more freedom, I'd say, since you could definitely, like, you know, like there wasn't any constraints of like, you know, dimensions, although, you know, there was like some constraints that we have to make for ourselves, but it wasn't anything like we couldn't, you know, definitely deviate from like say from like a rubric. So it was definitely much more something that like our team could decide, and it wasn't like something that the curriculum decided for us.
In a similar vein, there's a lot of small skills that we learn from school, such as CADing and design work involving rapid prototyping and conceptualizing that are fairly similar to what we do in school. Besides that, the coding and algorithmic stuff and are not very similar to what we do in school. And a lot of times schools tend to guide you to do specific things, but here we have to design our own things that we want to guide other people to do, instead of the other way around. So it's been very different, but very, very fun.
It's definitely a lot more troubleshooting here. You know, it was like at school something goes wrong, there's definitely people that you could like reach out to, or there's not really any people you have to call in order to see like, oh, how do we solve this problem? Like reaching out to people that we've like never met whatsoever. So that was something new, and I think it was also valuable that we learned that skill. Like we had that experience, since that would be pretty useful in our future careers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know, I'll tack on to that too. Like, it's just different kind of when there's no answer key, there's no rubric to follow. It's kind of you're designing your own thing, and if you come to an issue, it's like just you there to solve it. And like, you know, there's guidance from like the mentors that we have, but it's still a lot of like on us to figure out how to solve these problems, because there's like no Google answer to how to fix these problems necessarily. This internship definitely relates a lot to my major, with like the fact that we're doing a lot of like kind of manufacturing. Like these robots are for manufacturing technically, and when we put them all together, it'll be like as if it was like an industrial manufacturing thing. So that is something that definitely could be in my future, although I am a little more focused on the design part of my major than the manufacturing part. So it gives me a lot of the hands-on experience of my major that I could then use my knowledge of the hands-on experience to then go into more design for industrial things, and like understand, well, this is what's going on the floor, and this is what I need to do here to make that work more efficiently or more effectively. So it's, though I'm not necessarily going to be doing this exact work in my future, it's definitely applicable and helpful to me to know these things.
So I think that this internship definitely gave a lot of good technical skills and experience that you know, for sure we'll see something like that in the future. And also dealing with different situations, working with different people, that's always something that is very beneficial. And like learning how to work around like deadlines, and also being able to work with like different types of tools that we haven't worked with before. I think that's also very useful, and I think I can definitely benefit from that, and it will help me out in my future career.
I do want to try to get into like robotics engineering for the future, and this helped me get a nice first look into what robots can do and how to work with them, and it gave me a really good idea of the true capabilities of robotics, and I think helped me narrow down what specific direction I want to try to go with these.
I did most of the training in a way more condensed period of time. So what I can say on that is that it's definitely easy to follow because like you can take your time with it and learn things, but at the same time like you don't necessarily have to because it is intuitive enough to learn, and the training guides you well through how everything works in a way that makes sense. So it's easy to follow and it all builds on itself, which makes it way easier to kind of condense.
There's a lot of initial hiccups when we start implementing our projects, such as like the PLC. There's all in the vision software. I know there's a lot of connection errors and IP address stuff that had to be initially figured out before any of the projects can actually start. So that slowed down a lot of progress, and we couldn't jump into the projects immediately, which felt slow at times. So I think ironing that out or having some of that stuff pre-prepared or pre-figured out would be great. Yep.
I see what you mean on like doing the Cognex training. There were times where I felt like if I didn't have people next to me who already knew how to do it, I don't know if I necessarily would have been able to figure it out from the written instruction.
I agree. It was difficult since it was also the case where everyone was trained in different things, and after the training ended, we had to train each other, like cross-train, and we're not experts on the subject even after learning it for 2 weeks, and I can see how it was difficult to understand, like in my case, like the Cognex camera, and working with that program that followed with it was there was definitely a learning curve, and it was also difficult to split up the learning with my 2 other teammates, since we only had access to one computer, one camera, so one person had to work on this, the other had to work on that, and then the other person had to help out with troubleshooting or communicating with the mentor in order to talk about the problems that we face. So it was a lot of juggling the responsibilities, and being able to give time to each person to actually understand how the Cognex camera and like the system worked.
Yeah, I think in general, the training seemed to work better for individuals with the help of like a teacher than like a group, because using the camera, like 3 people trying to use it at once, you kind of can't. It's really like a 1 or 2 person job max, which does make it more difficult to learn. Yeah, I would. I think I'd definitely recommend it to people I know who are more into computer engineering or even like electrical engineering, because I think I know a lot of people who would really enjoy working with robots, and I really enjoy it too, but I feel like for some, like getting to program the robots especially would be very helpful for them and like applicable in their life.
I would recommend this internship, especially for people interested in robotics, manufacturing, and designing engineering. So I think those things we saw a lot in this internship, so I think that'll be a great step for people to take to apply this internship.
I agree with what they say, and the people here are pretty enthusiastic about what they're doing and wanted to teach and help and guide us throughout all these projects. And this is only the beginning. I can feel that the internship will only get better from here with more well thought out ideas, more polish, and better future planning. So definitely recommend it to honestly whoever wants to do anything with robots.
Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Follow our TikToks, capybaras_GennFlex.
Follow the TikTok motomind_GennFlex.
Marksman_GennFlex.
Yeah, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Sayonara.